Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite lights, the SmallRig RC220. So I will start off by saying that this light is probably my #1 used light out of all of my lights. The overall quality is great and the brightness is great, and for me it fits all of my purposes really well. And before we get further in, if you do decide to purchase this light after watching this video, I do have an affiliate link down below that will take you to this light, and if you purchase it, I do make a small commission. That also being said, SmallRig is not sponsoring me at all. No money's been exchanged. I'm just saying this because I like this light. And also, this is not going to be a in-depth review of this light. There are plenty of those out there. This is more going to be a video talking about kind of how I've used this light over the last couple years, because I have had it for a while, how it's been helpful, how I've used it, what's been great about it, what isn't as great about it, and that sort of thing, so you get a feel for what it looks like in the field. So the first thing that I do like about this light is that it is indeed light. This light is primarily all plastic. There is metal in here and in the reflector, but because it's mostly plastic, that does make it easier to mount in ways that you wouldn't necessarily be able to mount a heavier light. And also because it's plastic, you would expect that things would be chipping or breaking or cracking. So far that's not the case, and I've had it for around 3 years or so. So overall build quality is pretty good. And one nice thing about it is that it is battery powered, or it can be, off of V-mount. I will say though that in the instructions they do require that you have a certain voltage and wattage of battery. I have used batteries that have been less powerful than the required battery. You just have to make sure that this light is not kept at full intensity and maybe keep it at 50 or lower. Otherwise you may fry your battery. And a really nice feature with this light is it comes with a really nice carrying case, which I've used a lot, and it hasn't really ripped or torn. The seams are where they need to, the zippers work great. And I think that is a really nice bonus to consider when you are purchasing this light. So the question that you're probably going to wonder is, how bright is it? Currently this is still my brightest light, and it has a really nice variable from 1% to 100%. 1% is very dim, and 100% it is very bright. And now, how have I used this light in the real world? I've used it as moonlight coming in through a window, through a softbox. I've also used it outside in the woods, running off of a generator, and it's lit up the woods really well, and a lot of times has not even been at 100% before. Like I said, I have used this off of a battery, and I've done it outside, given the light was very close to the subject, but I have used it in that way. I've used it for a lot of interviews, both commercial and for the fun of it, as well as podcasts, and it's worked great for that, especially with a really nice softbox. I've used it with the app to turn it off and on at very exact moments, which was really fun for this short Star Wars video I did. And if I'm using another light as the key, a lot of times I will point this into the ceiling to give an overall ambient amount of light to film the shadows where needed. And I have used this to replicate sunlight. As you can see from this example, this is the actual sun coming through warehouse doors, and this is another angle of this light shining through those exact doors from inside. And you can see that it's a pretty similar comparison when you really need to use that in a pinch. And because it's light, like I said, I precariously have mounted this very high on a C-stand to shine through the shutters of a window to create really nice sunlight streaks into a bedroom. One thing that I will note with this light is that because it's kind of beyond the 120 watt range, it's very bright, therefore it does kind of get hot. And I have burned at least 1 or 2 gels with this light, keeping it too close to the LED chip. So be careful with that, and either don't put the gel as close to the light or lower the intensity as much as it needs to go. But I do have a few things that I don't care for as much with this light. The first being that this reflector dish, like a lot of the ones made nowadays, they're made for peak brightness, but they also do create a hot spot in the middle of the circle. I much more prefer the more kind of frosty, I guess you would say, interior of these other older dishes that create a more even spread of light over the whole circle of light. And my second con is that the power brick here does not have any way of mounting onto the stand. It's just there, so I have to hang it off of just the section here, which I don't really prefer because it does have some weight to it. So what I have done is it looks dingy, but I've added Velcro strips alongside this in a way that I can hang this onto one of the knobs of the light stand. And then the last thing that I want to say about this light is that it is very highly comparable to the Amaran 200, their daylight version in their Amaran line. The lights are almost identical in all of their specs. I'm not going to compare those two. The channel Dunna Did It did a great job at comparing these things in very high detail, and I feel like he gives a really good conclusion on which of these lights is probably objectively the better light. The one thing that I will say with the comparisons is that this light does come with a really nice carrying case, like we mentioned before, but the Amaran light comes with the, what's it called? Sidus link. So if you have other aperture lights, that light will sync up right with all of your others, and it will be a very convenient thing on set. So that's about all I have to say about this light. Like I said, it's a really helpful light. It's been great over all the years. It's staying robust, it's not breaking down, it's super bright, and it is probably one of my most utilized pieces in all of my gear. So if you are interested in purchasing it, like I said, there is an affiliate link down below. So if you did like this video, go ahead and do give it a like, it does help, and go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one.